The federal government has hurricane hunters flying straight into the eye of Hurricane Matthew to get a real look at the storm. And one of them recorded the bumpy ride yesterday. You got to see this video. This plane collects information on air pressure, wind speeds, and direction. And pilots navigate through extreme winds, downpours, and violent drafts from all directions. The late update from the National Hurricane Center: winds 115 miles per hour with Matthew. Still a Category 3. Boy, this thing holds together. Dr. Knabb is in Miami. He's been up for basically 72 hours straight, I'm going to guess. He is the director of the National Hurricane Center, and I don't joke about that. You don't walk away from that map until this thing moves on. I've seen it. You know, as we come to you, I have a question about what I'm sure people are observing. You know, this seems like it didn't have the punch that we thought it would in certain areas, yet other areas are getting really hit now, late into the storm. Why?
Well, the hurricane has had all of its punch all along. It's just that some of that stayed far enough offshore to spare places like Palm Beach County from the brunt of the hurricane. And even when it went by places like Vero Beach in Melbourne, Florida earlier, the western eye wall was just a few miles offshore. They really dodged it very closely. And unfortunately, the eye wall has been a lot closer to the coastline, and it's just pushing these winds in the direction of the coastline, pushing the ocean on shore. And we've had not only a video that you've seen of storm surges getting into places like St. Augustine and Jacksonville Beach, but we've also seen gusts up above 80 miles per hour in places like St. Augustine and Fernandina Beach. Now we're already in Jekyll Island, Georgia, getting a gust to 48 miles an hour. So it's packing a punch. It's just that now it's getting closer to the coast, and this is a taste of what is to come in Georgia and South Carolina.
Wow. You know, you talk about people kind of letting their guards down, and you hear Floridians say, yeah, glad we wore it out, you know, stayed where we were. It's a blessing. They wished for the best, and they actually got it. Tell me what's really coming, because some of the storm surges are going to come at high tide. We saw from Sandy. I know, I live on the Hudson River. I thought we were out of the clear. And when that surge came, it wasn't even raining anymore, and it was a bear.
Yeah, and the storm surge video we've seen from Jacksonville Beach and from Palm Coast, Florida, you can see how quickly the water can come in with the waves and the storm surge. And what we think has a potential of happening in places like Georgia and South Carolina is depicted here on our potential storm surge flooding map that accounts for the variability in the tide. So this is how high above normally dry ground the storm surge flooding could get. The salt water in places like Charleston, South Carolina, it could get in some places as high as 6 feet above the ground, and the water could be moving. So this is why emergency managers in Georgia and South Carolina have told people to get out of storm surge prone areas. And if they're telling you to go and that there's still time to go safely, get out to save yourself from the deadliest hurricane hazard of all, storm surge.
Wow, you know, people hear you say that. I'm listening to you say it, and I just don't think they understand. This is not like a tsunami. This is the farther out or up the river or a tributary like a Lake Pontchartrain after Hurricane Katrina, and we thought everything was in the clear, and then it wasn't. This is a slow-moving event, and it can be potentially deadly.
It absolutely can, and I want people not to focus on the exact location that we're forecasting for the center of the hurricane. Don't focus on the category, because if this weakens below Category 3, you can just see the headlines, oh, good news, it's only a Category 2 or a Category 1. But Sandy, Ike, many past hurricanes were not major hurricanes, but they had major impacts due to the water. But you know what? We can write our own ending to this story by getting out of those storm surge prone areas, and then when you come back afterward, you'll be alive and you can deal with the aftermath. But don't be in that storm surge prone area and end up one of our statistics in our report of the fatalities after this. We don't want to have that happen.
Dr. Knabb, I love the way you put it. You know what? Just come back and complain later, but come back. Yeah, be safe.
Yes, but hope for the best. Yeah.
I'm seeing what you're saying, and I can see the eye is starting to curve along the line that's behind you now, that coastline. So things are changing a bit. We'll come back to you as the news warrants, but we appreciate your time, Doctor. Thank you.